So I'm talking to Fede Alvarez right now, the director of the Evil Dead. What would you call it? A remake, a revival? What would it be?
We would call it a rebirth, because I think it's just, it's a new Evil Dead for a new generation. We're bringing back such an awesome title for a new audience, so I think that's the right way to call it.
In the Q&A you had after the film, you spoke about how the elements from the original movie that you borrowed were elements that you just remembered upon your original viewing. How old were you when you first saw Evil Dead, and what was your takeaway? Were you really scared, or what was it?
Yeah, I was 12 when I watched it the first time. That was 1990, and I was looking for the scariest movie I could find. I was done with all the Nightmares on Elm Street and Friday the 13th and all that, and we went to the video store trying to find the hardest stuff they could give us, and they didn't want to give us Evil Dead because that was kind of illegal. We were too young, but they gave it to us anyways because we were very persistent. And it was very scary. I think it was the scariest stuff I ever seen by then, and it was the scariest stuff I've ever seen for a long time, I guess. I don't know, when I watched the movie again, that scared me so much. There's very few films in my life that really scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
It's like very few that really like stayed with me, and I had nightmares for a long time. And I think definitely, Evil Dead was one of them, and for me, alongside The Exorcist and 28 Days Later probably, and the original Ring, probably.
Yeah.
Ringo. I mean, one of those are the ones that really scared me and got into my skin.
The original Evil Dead is infamous for having a lot of issues while shooting. Were there any sort of things that carried on into your filming of the movie? I know Bruce Campbell said that there's no charm in a lot of things going wrong, but did anything go wrong, and how did you cope with it?
Wrong. I mean, we were shooting for real on the real location. That was we made a lot of good and bad decisions. Bad for production, and good for the film, which at the end it's what matters. Because I want to shoot it in the real woods. I want to be with the elements, and I want to I want to capture what it is to be out in the woods with these kids. So we decided to go to a woods out in the middle of nowhere. So you're dealing with the elements. So in a place like New Zealand, which has the craziest weather ever, it's going to be sunny 1 hour, and then next hour is going to be raining, and all the things never made things easy, right? Because you're planning on this rainy day, and it's like this super happy sunny day.
It's like crap.
And you have to deal with that. But we have an amazing DP, Aaron Morden. So he managed to put like big piece of like a sails, like a black piece of cloth, like just covering the shade, covering the sun. I mean, giving us some shade when it was sunny. We have a kind of a rooftop even in top of the cabin to prevent us from the rain when we didn't want rain. So all that was really tricky because you're expecting some kind of weather, and you get another one. All the final scene of the movie, with the oil blood rain.
Yeah.
That was, that's out in the woods. Like everybody in Hollywood would make a scene like that. They would make it under, the rooftop on a stage and all that. And I want to make it for real. I want to see the rain fall in the real woods and all that. So it was very demanding. But particularly for the actors, they suffer because it was cold as hell and all that. And
yeah, that was notable about a similarity between the original and your version, where I remember Sam Raimi said he wanted to punish his actors so that he could evoke some real sense of pain in their faces. You think you achieved that with your film? Especially with Mia, the character Mia. She explained about how she went through some agony especially the burial scene. Who do you think went through most agony? Was it her or someone else, you think?
I mean, everybody was suffering a lot. I mean, she went through the worst, I guess.
Yeah.
But it happened with all of them that I had to, they may, just leave the set crying, and I had to go to get them and convince them to go back. I think they were all in a world of pain, and then because we were throwing at them real things all the time, so the pain was real and the scares were real. In a lot of scenes, they didn't know what was going to happen, so they would walk into a room without knowing what exactly was going to happen to them, and so I wanted to get real jumps out of them, even though they would walk into a room and react to something and they have no idea what's going to be there, and when they see what it really is, they get a real reaction. So we did a lot of that, and that put them in a very hard place. And also they're very good actors. They were very committed with the roles and put their the blood and heart in every scene. So you know, you've seen the movie, so you know every character is going through a very dark, you know, moment, and they're in a very dark place, also emotionally. So that put them in. They were already in a very dark place in a minute one of the movie, right? When the movie started, nobody's having a good time. And so everything that happened take them to an even darker place. So that's why I think they suffer. It was psychological and physically, they really had a tough time.
All right, Fede. Last question. I know Bruce Campbell announced plans for an Evil Dead 2. Are you going to be working on that script again? And if so, do you have any ideas? Are you going to be sticking similarly to sort of the model of the original Evil Dead trilogy, or are you going to be doing your own thing? I know your version of Evil Dead ended differently than the original version, so that's definitely going to influence how the story goes. But what's your plan? Are we eventually going to get an Army of Darkness from you?
I guess so. Yeah, I hope so. I definitely hope so. I mean, it's going to go to a different place. Definitely.
We're going to go 1950s instead?
Who knows? Who knows? This is the thing. Every Evil Dead has to go to a completely different place than the previous one. Like, even Evil Dead 2 was completely different from Evil Dead 1. I mean, they were quoting a lot of things, and they were kind of recapping on some events that even the recap is not the same. It's just, you know, Ash going with his girlfriend, and the original is just 5 friends. So for me, they're completely different movies and different stories. And the tone switch on the second one, which was a big surprise, and then Army of Darkness, which is completely madness, and then this one, which is kind of a throwback to the original. So we have to keep doing that. And so the second one has to be completely different. It has to be something that nobody expects. So I don't think the next one is going to be Army of Darkness, and it's definitely not going to be a remake of Evil Dead 2. It's going to be a completely new Evil Dead, because this first one, you know, is a rebirth and it's a new version, but it still has a lot of elements in common with the first one. But this one, the next one, the following up to this one, that's going to be a completely brand new Evil Dead you haven't seen before. So I think I'm so excited about that one. Because for everybody, for the fans and for the new audience, it's going to be a completely 100% original movie, and I hope that we tell a story that let us, you know, go in a third. So I'm definitely sure. I mean, I would die to get to a third one.
Yeah.
And if we get to a third one, it has to be as outrageous as Army of Darkness. Otherwise, you know, we cannot be less ballsy than that.
Yeah.
We have to really go to completely weird places that people doesn't expect. So I hope that's going to be what we're doing.
Well, thank you very much, Fede. I hope to get scared by Evil Dead 2 and Evil Dead 3, and I'm looking forward to what else you do down the line, outside of Evil Dead world. But it's been nice talking to you, and this has been Andrew Bet, and thank you very much.
Thank you, man. Thank you.